They fined me $500 for tire tracks in the snow. I'd plowed their only mountain road for free for 7 years, saved the HOA $18,000, kept 73 families safe through Colorado winters that bury cars in minutes, never missed a storm, never asked for a dime. The HOA president, Vivienne, with her spotless white Lexus, handed me the fine and smiled.
Maybe if you drove something more professional, Dalton, we wouldn't have this problem.
I smiled back.
You know what? You're absolutely right.
Then I parked my plow and did exactly what she asked. 3 days later, Vivian learned a very expensive lesson about the difference between controlling people and needing them. But before I tell you what that lesson cost her, in dollars, in reputation, and in ways she never saw coming, tell me, what would you have done? Comment below. And where are you watching from? My name's Dalton Reeves, 52, third-generation heavy equipment operator, 30 years moving dirt and snow in the Colorado Rockies. My wife Marcy teaches 4th grade. Our 2 kids live out of state, Phoenix and Seattle, places where winter means a light jacket. 8 years ago, we bought into Ridgecrest HOA, 73 homes at 9,200 feet elevation in Pinewood Summit, a town most people have never heard of. The view's unbelievable. Elk in your backyard, stars so bright you can read by them. The trade-off? 1 road in, 1 road out. 2.3 miles of steep switchbacks, private property, no county maintenance. The HOA owns it, and when you're getting 340 inches of snow between November and April, maintenance means plowing, constantly. Our monthly dues were $450, steep, but that covered road maintenance, snow removal, insurance, reserves. The old board president was Bill Hendricks, retired firefighter. His philosophy: we take care of each other up here because nobody else will. I liked Bill. First winter, I watched the contracted plow company take 6 hours and charge $1,200 for a moderate storm. I owned the equipment, had the license and insurance, so I offered Bill a deal. I'd plow for free, early mornings before work, and the HOA could drop the contractor. Bill looked at me like I'd handed him a winning lottery ticket. For 7 years, that's what I did. 4:30 a.m., every storm, my F450 with the 10-foot blade clearing that road. The HOA saved $18,000. I never invoiced them, never asked for gas money. It was just what you do. Community meetings were boring in the best way. Burnt coffee that tasted like the pot hadn't been cleaned since 1997. Votes on adding gravel or trimming pine trees. Everybody got along. Then 14 months ago, Bill's wife got cancer. They moved to Grand Junction. Bill resigned. Vivian Ashford Crane moved in and ran for president. Vivian was 59, retired pharmaceutical sales from Connecticut. She'd moved to Colorado for the mountain lifestyle, but got furious every time the mountain actually inconvenienced her. Perfect blonde highlights, spotless white Lexus SUV, Patagonia vests that probably cost more than my truck. She won by 4 votes. Her pitch? Professionalize our community standards. I should have seen it coming. First meeting as president, she showed up with a binder. Tabs, color-coded sections. She quoted Robert's Rules of Order like a prosecuting attorney. The smell of her vanilla perfume cut through that stale coffee smell, and somehow made everything worse. We need to discuss liability exposure regarding unregulated volunteer services, she announced. I felt Marcy's hand squeeze mine. Vivian's faction, 3 transplants who'd moved in recently, nodded like she'd cured cancer. The old-timers like Rosa Burke and Trevor Kowalski just stared. Specifically, Vivian said, 1 manicured nail tapping the table. We have residents operating heavy machinery on HOA property without formal contracts or board oversight. She meant me. Didn't say my name. Didn't have to. Trevor spoke up. Dalton's been plowing 7 years. Licensed, insured, never a problem. Vivian smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. Capability isn't accountability. We need professionals. He is a professional, Rosa said, voice shaking. She was 78 and hated confrontation. Then he can bid for the contract like anyone else. Motion to implement a professional standards initiative requiring board approval for all service providers. One of her allies seconded it. Vote 4-3. 7 years of helping my neighbors just became unregulated. I walked out into the November cold. Gravel crunched under my boots. That sharp smell of incoming snow already in the air. A storm coming in 48 hours. Marcy came up beside me. She's going to be a problem. Yeah, I said. 2 weeks later, I got the letter. Formal HOA notice. Cease all unauthorized snow removal operations immediately. Still expected to pay full dues. No replacement contractor hired yet. Vivian was reviewing bids. The letter had her signature at the bottom, printed on HOA letterhead she'd designed herself. It included the new logo she'd commissioned, a pine tree inside a circle that looked like something from a luxury resort brochure. I read it twice, then set it on the kitchen counter. "What are you going to do?" Marcy asked. "Follow the rules," I said. "Exactly." January 4th. The kind of storm that makes you respect the mountains whether you want to or not. Started snowing around 11 p.m. By 4 a.m., when I'd normally be firing up the plow, 22 inches had already fallen. I stood at my kitchen window with coffee, watching flakes come down in the glow of my porch light, and did absolutely nothing. Marcy came up behind me. "You're really not going out?" "Nope. Following the rules." The coffee tasted better than usual that morning. Funny how spite improves the flavor of things. By 7 a.m., the main road was buried. My neighbor Marcus Flynn, 74, diabetic, dialysis twice a week, stood in his driveway staring at the impassable white expanse. His truck wasn't going anywhere. My phone started ringing. Amanda Schuster, young mom. "Dalton, the bus can't get up here." "Can't help. HOA rules. Call Vivian." 14 calls by 9 a.m. Same answer every time. But watching Marcus standing there, breath fogging in the cold, looking defeated, that broke something in me. Old habits die hard. I fired up the plow and made one pass. 45 minutes, single lane cleared, road safe. I thought that would be the end of it. January 8th, certified letter, had to sign for it. The mail carrier, Joel, 20 years up here, gave me a look that said he knew exactly what was inside. I opened it at my kitchen table. Notice of violation and fine. Unauthorized equipment operation. Photographic evidence. Non-regulation track patterns. Fine, $500. Payment due within 14 days to avoid property lien. 3 printed photos attached. My plow tracks, different angles, time-stamped. Someone had been watching, documenting, waiting. Marcy read it over my shoulder. "They fined you $500 for helping people." Apparently, I set the letter down. The paper had that expensive weight to it, the kind Vivian would choose. Even her violations had production value. I called an emergency board meeting, my right as a homeowner, sent the email, CC'd everyone, and showed up January 11th with a folder full of documentation. Same community center, same burnt coffee smell mixing with Vivian's aggressive vanilla perfume, a combination that could probably strip paint. She sat at the head table with her 3 allies, flanking her like backup singers. I stood. "I'm contesting the $500 fine." Vivian didn't look up. "The fine is valid. Photographic evidence confirms the violation." I opened my folder. "Here's my commercial liability insurance, $2 million coverage, my Colorado contractor's license, 7 years of fuel receipts, $14,000 I've spent maintaining that road, maintenance logs proving safety. I'm requesting you either rescind this fine or reimburse me for services rendered." Trevor Kowalski leaned forward to look at my paperwork. Rosa Burke nodded. Vivian's smile was thin as paper. "Your vigilante snow removal was never requested, Mr. Reeves. The fine stands, and I'm pleased to announce we've hired Cascade Mountain Services, a professional contractor with a proper service agreement." Something in her voice, too pleased, too rehearsed, made my instincts twitch. "Can I see the contract?" "Vendor contracts are executive session only. Standard procedure. I'm entitled to review HOA expenditures. Submit a formal records request." She gathered her papers like a gavel coming down. "This meeting is adjourned." Walking out, I noticed a white van in the parking lot. Cascade Mountain Services in fresh vinyl lettering. I'd seen that van 3 times in the past week, parked in Vivian's driveway. I photographed the license plate. At home, I pulled up Google. Years ago, a buddy who ran a small construction company taught me a trick. When someone hires a contractor suspiciously fast, check the Colorado Secretary of State Business Registry. It's public record. Takes 2 minutes. You'd be amazed what people think they're hiding. Cascade Mountain Services, LLC. Owner, Derek Crane. Age 34. Business filed 8 months ago. Previous profession, pharmaceutical sales. Recent relocation from Connecticut. I clicked his LinkedIn photo. Same eyes as Vivian, same nose, same narrow chin that looked like it had never been punched, but probably should have been. You've got to be kidding me, I said out loud. Marcy looked over my shoulder. That's her nephew? That's her nephew. I sat back. She created this whole professional standards initiative to funnel HOA money to family. And find you to clear the way. I logged into my bank account and paid the $500. Immediate transfer. Marcy stared. Why? Because I don't want to lean on our house, and because I'm done fighting nice. The thing about being a third-generation equipment operator is you learn patience. You don't force a stuck engine. You don't rush a frozen hydraulic line. You wait for the right moment, then you apply pressure exactly where it counts. I sent an email to all 73 homeowners. Subject: important notification regarding snow removal. Body: effective immediately, I am ceasing all volunteer snow removal services for HOA common property. Per board directive, Cascade Mountain Services will handle all future operations. Thank you for 7 great years. Dalton Reeves. Hit send. Then I went to bed and slept like a baby. Outside, the wind was already picking up. Weather forecast said another storm in 2 weeks. A big one. I smiled in the dark. January 18th. National Weather Service issued a blizzard warning. 36 to 48 inches predicted over 3 days. The kind of storm that shuts down entire counties. I watched the forecast on my laptop while eating breakfast. Marcy glanced at the screen, then at me. You're not going to help. Nope. I took a bite of toast. Cascade Mountain Services has got this. She shook her head but didn't argue. January 19th, 6 p.m. Snow started falling. Big flakes at first, the kind that look pretty on Christmas cards. By midnight, it wasn't pretty anymore. The wind picked up, that howling sound that makes you grateful for insulated walls and a working furnace. By 10 a.m. on the 20th, 24 inches had already accumulated. I stood at my window watching the road disappear inch by inch. No plow sounds, no engine rumble, just wind and that peculiar silence that comes when snow swallows everything. 11 a.m. A white van appeared at the bottom of the road. Cascade Mountain Services. I grabbed my binoculars. Yes, I'm that guy. And watched. Derek Crane climbed out with 2 other guys. Young kids, maybe 22, 23, wearing Denver Broncos hoodies under their coats. Not exactly mountain winter gear. Derek's truck had a residential plow blade, the kind you use for driveways, not 2-mile mountain roads with 18% grades. They made it 400 yards before the blade hit a frozen rut and snapped clean off. The sound echoed across the valley, metal screaming, then silence. Derek stood there looking at his broken plow like it had personally betrayed him. One of the kids kicked the tire. The other pulled out his phone. No service up here in a storm, kid. Sorry. 15 minutes later, they drove back down. Van disappeared. Road still 95% buried. My phone buzzed. Text from Trevor. Where's the plow company? I replied. Ask Vivienne. By 4 p.m., Derek sent an email to the HOA board, which got forwarded to all residents because someone hit reply all instead of just replying to Vivienne. Technology, the great equalizer. Equipment malfunction due to unexpected road conditions. Crew will return when storm passes. Not safe to operate currently. Not safe. The same road I'd plowed for 7 years in worse storms. January 20th, storm intensified. 40 inches fell. The main road disappeared completely. Just smooth white drifts 5-6 feet tall in places where the wind carved them. It looked peaceful. Apocalyptic, but peaceful. That evening, the emergency call came. Marcus Flynn, the diabetes patient, had fallen on ice outside his front door trying to clear a path to his car. Possible hip fracture. He needed a hospital, and he needed it now. Ambulance tried coming up the mountain. Got stuck 0.8 miles from the entrance. Fire department tried. Same result. Snow was too deep, road too buried, their vehicles too low clearance. I watched from my window as the helicopter came. The sound of rotors cutting through falling snow. The downwash creating a temporary blizzard of its own. The basket lowering. Marcus strapped in, lifted up, disappearing into the gray sky. Cost of helicopter medical evacuation in Colorado. roughly $31,000 if insurance doesn't cover it. Marcus was on Medicare. They'd cover some, not all. I stood there with my coffee going cold in my hand, watching the helicopter's lights fade, and felt something harden in my chest. Marcy came up beside me. "This isn't your fault." "I know. Vivienne did this." "I know that too." But knowing doesn't stop you from feeling like you could have prevented it, should have prevented it, would have prevented it, except for a $500 fine and a president with a designer vest and a family business to feed. The next day, January 21st, the storm finally stopped. 34 inches total. Road completely impassable. 73 families trapped. 12 kids missed school, which meant the school district sent a formal notice. HOA policy required guaranteed bus access or face fines of $500 per day per student. $6,000 a day the HOA was now liable for. I'd read that regulation years ago when my own kids were in school. It's buried in Colorado Education Code, exists to protect kids in rural areas. Most HOAs never trigger it because most HOAs don't hire incompetent nephews. 3 families started a petition demanding Vivienne's recall. 48 signatures in 6 hours, 66% of homeowners. Vivienne sent an email response that evening. "Petition invalid due to procedural irregularities. Will not be recognized." Then she announced a special assessment vote to raise monthly dues 40%. Extra funds needed for enhanced snow removal capabilities. $450 a month was about to become $630. People were furious. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. But fury doesn't clear snow. And Vivienne was counting on everyone being too trapped, too tired, too desperate to fight her. She made one mistake though. She sent a follow-up email, HOA-wide, titled, "Regarding Recent Complications." In it, she wrote, "Some residents have suggested former volunteer Dalton Reeves could assist with current snow conditions. Mr. Reeves has made clear he prioritizes personal grievances over community welfare and has refused multiple requests to help. His obstruction has created this crisis." I read it 3 times. She just publicly stated I refused to help and was obstructing snow removal, which meant she just publicly acknowledged I was capable, available, and equipped to solve the problem she'd created. I forwarded the email to my personal folder labeled Evidence. Then I texted Marcy. She just gave me everything I need. Outside, the wind had finally died. The mountains were silent, waiting. So was I. February came in cold and mean. Vivienne launched a community safety review, fancy name for a smear campaign. Her newsletter arrived in every mailbox on thick cardstock. Previous unregulated snow removal created hidden infrastructure risks. The claim. My 7 years of plowing had potentially damaged the road surface, requiring estimated repairs of $85,000 come spring thaw. $85,000 for damage that didn't exist. Marcy read it over breakfast. She's saying you destroyed the road? Setting up to sue me. Needs a scapegoat for why the reserve fund's empty. I called Gregory Hammond, previous HOA treasurer, voted out when Vivienne's faction took over. We met at a coffee shop. Real coffee this time. Dark roast with cinnamon notes, not the battery acid from board meetings. Gregory slid a manila folder across the table. I've been waiting for someone to ask about this. Inside, bank statements, budget reports, reserve fund documentation. When Vivienne took over 14 months ago, reserves held $127,000. Current balance, $64,000. $63,000 gone. Where? I asked. Administrative consulting fees. $20,000 paid to Mountain Property Consulting over 4 months. $3,000 monthly. When I questioned it, Vivienne said I was overstepping. Then her faction recalled me. I pulled up the Colorado Secretary of State Business Registry on my phone. A contractor buddy taught me this trick years back. Takes 90 seconds to find who owns any LLC. The state makes it public so people can't hide conflicts of interest. Mountain Property Consulting, LLC. Owner, Vivienne Ashford Crane. Gregory's face went pale, then red. She's paying herself. $36,000 over a year, plus Derek's Cascade contract, $12,500 monthly, $87,500 annually. I showed him the contract I'd obtained through an open records request. For work I did free for 7 years. Colorado Statute 3833.3209, Gregory said, voice tight. Board members must disclose financial interests. Failure means personal liability for all payments. Simple rule. Pay yourself without disclosure. You owe it all back. Every penny. Plus legal fees. Plus removal from the board. But exposing this now would just make her defensive. She'd lawyer up, claim oversight, stall for months. I needed the community to see corruption and consequences simultaneously. Don't tell anyone yet, I said. Gregory studied me. What are you planning? Waiting for the next storm. February 8th, certified letter from Vivian's attorney arrived. Legal demand. Sign a waiver accepting liability for road damage or face litigation seeking $85,000. Deadline, February 15th. I hired Bill Ortiz the next day. Former prosecutor, HOA specialist, 2,500 retainer. She's trying to scare you silent, Bill said, reading the demand. These claims are fabricated. No engineering report, no inspection, no evidence. Just a number from thin air. I showed him everything. Reserve discrepancies, Mountain Property Consulting, Derek's inflated contract. Bill whistled. Textbook self-dealing. But timing matters. Expose now. She claims administrative oversight. Wait until she's publicly committed to her lies. Let her dig deeper. Next meeting's March 15th. Perfect. Let her keep talking. Weather forecast showed another major storm building, March 18th through 20th. Predicted snowfall, 30 to 38 inches. I went home and performed full maintenance on my plow truck. Changed oil, checked hydraulics, sharpened the blade, filled the tank. The smell of diesel and grease and cold metal. Familiar, comforting, purposeful. February 10th, 2 a.m. A sound woke me. Outside my window, a figure in dark clothing near my plow truck, moving fast, then running. I pulled on boots, grabbed a flashlight, went outside. 2 tires slashed. Clean cuts, deep, deliberate. I called police. Deputy Martinez arrived, took photos, filed a report. Security cameras? Doorbell, motion activated. The footage showed a bundled figure, face covered. But that walk, purposeful stride, shoulders hunched, looked familiar. Couldn't prove it was Vivian, but I knew. The way you know your own shadow. I had spare tires. 30 years in mountains teaches you to keep backups. Truck repaired by noon. But I kept the slashed tires, the police report. The video footage backed up 3 places. Evidence becomes useful when you least expect it. The weather forecast updated that evening. March storm upgraded. 38 inches possible. High winds. Extended duration. I checked my plow one more time. Everything perfect. Ready. Then I waited. Outside, the mountains stood silent under clear February sky. Vivian had made her moves. Smear campaign. Lawsuit threat. Sabotage. Now it was winter's turn. And after winter, mine. March 2nd. The state HOA office finally forced Vivian's hand. After my formal open records request and Bill Ortiz's pointed follow-up threatening legal action, the HOA had 30 days to comply. Vivian stalled 29. On day 30, a box arrived. 347 pages of financial documents, contracts, meeting minutes, printed single-sided on premium paper. Probably cost $200 just in printing. Vivian's final petty move. Marcy and I spread everything across our kitchen table that evening. She'd been a bookkeeper before teaching, had an eye for numbers. "This'll take hours," she said. "I'll make coffee, the good stuff." We sorted, budgets, vendor contracts, meeting minutes, fresh coffee mixing with old paper and toner. Outside, sunset painted the mountains gold and purple. 2 hours in, Marcy stopped. "Dalton, page 178, the Cascade contract, full version, monthly retainer, $12,500. October through April, $87,500 total. But that wasn't what made her hand shake. Plus equipment costs, overtime, and emergency surcharges, she read. Billed separately at contractor's discretion. I pulled actual invoices. October, $12,500 base, plus $3,000, equipment maintenance. November, $12,500 base, plus $4,800, emergency overtime. December, $12,500 base, plus $2,200, equipment rental. January, $12,500 base, plus $8,500, emergency response. For the storm where Derek's blade broke after 45 minutes. 3 months actual billing, $51,000. For a road that stayed 95% impassable. Marcy kept reading, flipping pages. There's more. Buried in executive session minutes from November. Vote approving management consulting from Mountain Property Consulting, LLC. $3,000 monthly. No deliverables. No timeline. Just $3,000 every month since Vivian took office. I did math on my phone. 15 months at $3,000, $45,000. Plus Derek's $51,000. $96,000 total in just over a year. Previous year when I plowed free, $8,200 total costs. Salt, gravel, insurance. She's stolen almost $90,000, Marcy said quietly. When Marcy got quiet, she was furious. I kept digging. Found Cascade's certificate of insurance. Coverage, $500,000. Colorado requirement for commercial snow removal, $1 million minimum. Then I saw the exclusions, highlighted yellow. Policy does not cover operations on grades exceeding 15%. Our road averaged 18%. Steepest sections hit 22. Derek's insurance didn't cover the work he was contracted for. If he damaged anything, hurt anyone, Cascade wasn't covered. The HOA was liable. Every homeowner personally liable. Vivian had hired her underinsured nephew, paid him with community money, and exposed 73 families to unlimited legal risk. We've got her, Marcy said. Not yet. We've got evidence. But evidence doesn't matter if nobody sees it at the right moment. What's the right moment? I looked outside. Weather forecast still showed the storm for March 18th, 6 days away. When she's begging me to save her again. When everyone's watching. When she can't spin it. Marcy nodded slowly. You're letting the storm hit. I'm letting her make the same mistake twice. Then I'm making sure she pays for both. I gathered key documents, contract, invoices, insurance certificate, MPC payments, put them in a folder labeled evidence. One more piece of the puzzle fell into place when I cross-referenced the insurance certificate date with Derek's business filing. His LLC was created 8 months ago. His insurance policy, issued 7 months ago, 1 month after Vivian became HOA president. She'd planned this from the beginning, the whole thing. Remove me, install Derek, funnel money to family. Outside, wind picked up. Mountains knew something was coming. So did I. The next 5 days, I became a different kind of operator. Not the kind who moves snow, the kind who moves people. March 3rd, I started making calls. First, Rosa Burke, home from the hospital, hip healing, walker by her door. I brought coffee from the good place in town. Rosa, I need help organizing something. Community information session, not official HOA. Vivian can't control it. I want to show people what's happening with their money. She smiled, the smile that meant someone was about to learn a hard lesson. I'll make calls. We'll fill the room. Next, Trevor Kowalski. Met him at his workshop, smell of sawdust and wood stain thick enough to taste. I need the old-timers organized, I said. Trevor set down his sandpaper. We're already organized. Been waiting for you to make a move. March 10th, Town Hall in Pine Ridge. We'll be there. 3rd, Amanda Schuster, young mom, PR professional. Met at a coffee shop, her laptop already open. I need media coverage, local news, maybe Denver. Her eyes lit up. What's the angle? Corrupt HOA president embezzles funds while elderly residents get airlifted during storms she created. Jesus. Her fingers flew across keys. I know someone at Summit County Sentinel, and my old roommate at Channel 7 Denver. They love mountain drama. Get them on standby for the March 18th storm. This is going to be good. This is going to be perfect. March 10th, 7 p.m., Pine Ridge Town Hall. $200 to rent. 52 residents showed. 71% of the community. Rooms smelled like wet coats and mediocre coffee. I'd prepared a presentation. Simple facts on a screen. Slide 1. Reserve fund. $127,000, dropping to $64,000 in 14 months. Murmurs started. Slide 2. Mountain Property Consulting payments. $3,000 monthly. Owner. Vivian Ashford Crane. Murmurs louder. Slide 3. Cascade contract. $12,500 monthly plus surcharges. 3 months actual. $51,000. Owner. Derek Crane, nephew. Someone yelled, "You've got to be kidding." Slide 4. Insurance gap, 500,000 coverage. State requirement, 1 million. Exclusions, grades over 15%. Our road, 18 to 22%. Dead silence. Then everyone talking at once. I let them. Let the anger build. 5 minutes later, I held up a hand. Colorado Statute 3833.3209. Board members must disclose financial interests in vendors. Failure means personal liability for every dollar paid. Here's the trick about auditing your own HOA. It's easier than people think. Request the reserve study, compare budgeted versus actual expenses, check vendor contracts for related parties, then cross-reference board member names with the Secretary of State Business Registry. Takes 2 hours, costs nothing. That's how we caught her. Trevor stood. Vivian owes us that money back? Every cent, 96,000 total, plus legal fees. Rosa raised her hand. What do we do? 2 things. Formal recall petition, needs 67%. We've got that here. Second, document everything at the next storm. Make it public, undeniable. Amanda raised her phone. Channel 7's on standby. Perfect. Here's what happens. March 18th, storm buries us. Derek doesn't show. Vivian panics, calls me begging. I get it in writing. I plow while cameras roll. We hand reporters this evidence file. Don Kowalski stood. Why wait? Expose her now. Because now she can spin it, but when she's on camera begging while residents are trapped, she can't spin that. She can only fail publicly. Rosa spoke quietly. You've been planning this for weeks, months, since the first fine. She smiled. Good. Let's bury her. 68 signatures that night. Filed formally next morning. Election, April 15th. But that was just legal framework. Real work was waiting. March 11th through 17th I prepared. Serviced the plow completely. Every fluid, bolt, hydraulic line. Garage smelled like diesel and purpose. Tested backup generator. Charged camera batteries. Set up recording angles. Bill Ortiz prepared documents. Cease and desist. Civil suit paperwork. Demand letter for restitution. Amanda confirmed media. Sentinel reporter plus Channel 7 crew. Staging in town. Marcy asked one question. What if she doesn't call? She will. No choice. Derek won't show, family's trapped. She'll call. And if not, then the community stays buried until they force her out. Either way, she loses. March 17th, evening. Forecast updated. Storm arriving 18th, 6 p.m. 34 to 38 inches. Duration, 36 to 48 hours. I stood at my window, coffee in hand, watching sky turn that gray that means heavy snow coming. Plow truck ready. Maintenance perfect. Fuel full. Blade sharp. Marcy came beside me. You're really doing this. I really am. Outside, first flakes started falling. Early. Storm ahead of schedule. I smiled. Right on time. March 16th, 10 a.m. Vivian showed up at my house unannounced. I saw her white Lexus pull into my driveway through the kitchen window. She sat there for a full minute before getting out, like she was gathering courage, or rehearsing lines. I opened the door before she could knock. Vivian. Dalton, may I come in? No. I stepped onto the porch, closed the door behind me. The morning air was cold, that pre-storm chill that settles into your bones. What do you want? She pulled an envelope from her purse. Not a regular envelope, the expensive kind with the HOA logo embossed on it. I want to resolve our differences. Our differences. I didn't take the envelope. The board has authorized me to offer a settlement. $15,000. We'll rescind all fines, you sign a release of claims, and we all move forward. $15,000 to keep quiet about you stealing 96. Her smile tightened. That's a serious accusation, Dalton. It's a factual statement, Vivian. Mountain Property Consulting ring a bell? Your nephew's massively overpriced contract. The insurance gaps you've exposed this community to. I don't know what you think you found. I didn't think. I know. I have 347 pages of HOA financial records, your own documents. The color drained from her face, just slightly. She recovered fast, though, held out the envelope again. This offer expires Friday. I suggest you take it seriously. I'm recording this conversation, I said. Not a lie. My doorbell camera was running. Had been since she pulled up. Colorado's a one-party consent state, which means I don't need your permission. So let me be very clear. I'm not signing anything. I'm not taking your money. And I'm not going away. She stood there holding that envelope, the wind picking up around us, blowing her perfectly highlighted hair across her face. For just a second, I saw something flicker behind her eyes. Not quite fear, more like the moment when you realize you've miscalculated badly. Then she turned and walked back to her Lexus. Didn't say another word, just drove away, gravel crunching under her tires. Marcy was watching from inside. Bribery attempt? Attempted bribery, on camera, with a paper trail. She's getting desperate. She's about to get a lot more desperate. That night, 2:15 a.m., I woke to the sound of breaking glass. Not my house, somewhere outside, close. I pulled on pants and boots, grabbed my flashlight and went out. Trevor's truck, parked 3 houses down. Driver's side window smashed. Nothing taken. His registration was still in the glove box. His work tools still in the bed. Just broken glass scattered across his seat like diamonds. I called him. He came out in his robe, took one look, and his jaw set in that way that meant someone had just made a terrible mistake. Vandalism, he said. Message, I corrected. She's trying to scare the old-timers who support me. We called the police. Same deputy, Martinez. He took photos, filed another report, looked at me and Trevor with an expression that said he was starting to see a pattern. You folks having an HOA dispute? He asked. That's one way to describe embezzlement, Trevor said. Martinez wrote that down. The next morning, March 17th, Rosa found her mailbox knocked over. Post broken clean through, the metal box dented like someone had hit it with a bat. Her mail scattered across the driveway. Bills, catalogs, a letter from her granddaughter. She called me crying. Not scared crying, angry crying. I've lived here 23 years, she said, voice shaking. Never had a problem until that woman showed up. I helped her pick up the mail, set the mailbox upright temporarily. One more day, Rosa. Just one more day and this ends. You promise? I promise. That afternoon, Amanda got an email, sent from an anonymous Gmail account, subject line, defamation consequences. The body was simple. Spreading false accusations about HOA leadership constitutes defamation. Legal action will be pursued against all parties engaged in this harassment campaign. Amanda forwarded it to me. She's trying to scare me off the media coverage. Is it working? Hell no. Channel 7's crew is already in position. Sentinel reporters champing at the bit. This just makes the story better. Corrupt official threatens whistleblowers. By evening, the storm was 12 hours out. Weather Service had upgraded it. Winter storm warning, possible whiteout conditions, 38 to 42 inches predicted. My phone started buzzing. Texts from neighbors. Dalton, are you going to plow? What's the plan for tomorrow? Cascade said they're not coming. Equipment issues again. I replied to each one the same way. HOA has forbidden me from plowing. Contact the board president. 7 p.m. Vivian sent an HOA-wide email. Subject, storm preparation notice. Dear residents, due to extreme weather conditions forecasted for tomorrow, Cascade Mountain Services has advised they cannot safely operate until conditions improve. Please prepare for road closures of 48 to 72 hours. Stock necessary supplies. Limit travel. The board appreciates your patience during this act of God. Act of God. Like she hadn't created this situation herself by firing free help and hiring her incompetent nephew. My phone exploded. Texts, calls, voicemails. People furious, scared, desperate. Dalton, can you help? We have a medical appointment Thursday. My kid has a test at school. I'm out of my prescription medication. Each message felt like a weight. I wanted to help. Every instinct screamed to fire up the plow, clear the road, solve the problem. But solving it now meant Vivian got away with everything. Meant she'd keep stealing, keep lying, keep putting her interests above 73 families. So I texted back, I'm forbidden from plowing, under penalty of fines and legal action. I'm sorry. Call Vivienne. Marcy found me standing at the kitchen window around 9 p.m., watching the first flakes start to fall. This is hard for you, she said. Yeah. You're doing the right thing. Doesn't feel like it. She put her hand on my shoulder. Tomorrow, you save everyone. Tonight, You let them see who's really been hurting them. Outside, the snow fell harder. The mountains disappeared into white. The storm had begun. My phone buzzed one more time. Text from an unknown number. "You're going to regret this." I showed Marcy. "Vivienne?" "Probably. Doesn't matter." I set the phone down. By tomorrow night, she's going to regret every decision she's made since moving here. The wind picked up, rattling the windows. The real storm, the one that had been building for 14 months, was about to break, and I was ready. March 18th, 6 p.m. The storm hit exactly on schedule. Snow came in thick curtains, driven sideways by wind that sounded like freight trains in the distance. I stood at my window with coffee, watching the world turn white. Marcy was grading papers, but I could feel her watching me. "You okay?" "Yeah, just waiting." By midnight, 18 inches had fallen. By 6 a.m. on the 19th, 30 inches. The main road disappeared, not buried, just gone. White drifts 6 feet tall, carved by wind into smooth, deadly sculptures. My phone started ringing 7 a.m. Henderson's, elderly couple. "Out of heating oil. Can you?" "Can't. HOA rules. Call Vivian." "Amanda. School district fining 6,000 daily. Vivian's ignoring it." Marcus Flynn. "Dialysis at 2. Can't miss it." "That hurt. Call 911. Emergency transport. Bill the HOA." By 10 a.m., full crisis. Phone flooding. Texts, calls, emails. Couple families tried driving out, stuck after 200 yards in drifts to their hoods. One car abandoned, hazards blinking under snow. Fire department called 3 times. Couldn't reach us. Road too buried. Derek? Cascade? Radio silence. His email from 11 p.m. Storm too severe. Earliest mobilization March 21st. Emergency rate 18,500 base plus 450 hourly. 18,500 plus hourly. For what I'd clear in 5 hours for diesel costs. 1 p.m. Vivian's email. Tone defensive. Board working to secure emergency services. Current contractor unable due to equipment limitations. Equipment limitations she created. Hiring underinsured nephew with residential plow. 2 p.m. Marcus helicoptered out. Second time in 6 weeks. Rotor wash. Basket lowering. Lifted into gray sky. Another $31,000. 3 p.m. Unknown number. Voicemail. Vivian. Shaky. "Dalton, we need to discuss this. Call back." Deleted. 4 p.m. Again. "Please. People suffering. Put community first." Deleted. 5 p.m. HOA line. I answered. "Dalton. What do you want, Vivian?" "I need you to plow the road." Silence. Let it stretch. Let her hear wind and breathing. "Did you hear me? You need unauthorized snow removal operations. Same ones you fined me $500 for. Threatened to sue over. Those operations? This is different." "How?" "It's an emergency." "Same emergency every winter. Same one I prevented 7 years. Free." Her voice cracked. "What do you want?" "In writing. Full board authorization. Signed. Official letterhead. My $500 refunded. Fuel reimbursement. Written indemnification. Fine. Tonight. Also, board commits to full financial review next meeting. Public. Open to all homeowners." Long pause. "Why?" "Transparency matters, Vivian. I'll discuss with board." No discussion. Yes or no. All in writing or plow stays parked. Background voices. Then, "Yes. Fine. All of it. Please clear the road." Email by 8 p.m. Signed by all 7. Hung up. Marcy looked up. She agreed? Desperate people agree to anything. 7:30. Email arrived. Official letterhead. Emergency authorization for snow removal services. Authorized. Dalton Reeves. Rescinded $500 fine. Issued in error. That phrase made me smile. Fuel reimbursement at standard rates. Full indemnification. Comprehensive financial review April 15th meeting. Open to all members. 7 signatures at the bottom, including Vivian's. I forwarded to Bill Ortiz. Got it. Reply in seconds. That's a confession. She admitted wrongful fine and committed to public disclosure. Beautiful work. To Amanda. Storm clearance tomorrow, 6 a.m. Tell your media friends. Channel 7 crew staging 5 a.m. This is going to be perfect. To Gregory, Trevor, Rosa, 40 others I'd been coordinating with. Tomorrow morning, be ready. Went to garage. Final checks on plow truck. Filled tank completely. Premium diesel, not cheap stuff. Tested hydraulics one last time. Blade gleamed under lights, sharp and ready. The smell of cold metal and diesel, and 7 years of vindication filled the space. Marcy came out, leaned on workbench. You've been waiting for this moment for months. 14 months, since she took office. How does it feel? I looked at my truck, the plow blade, the evidence folder on my workbench, 347 pages of Vivian's self-dealing, printed, organized, ready to present. Feels like justice, I said. Finally. Outside, the storm was ending, wind dying down, sky clearing enough to see stars between clouds. Perfect plowing weather coming, perfect reckoning weather. I set my alarm for 4:30 a.m. and went to bed. Slept like a baby. March 19th, 4:30 a.m. Alarm went off. I was already awake. Outside. Storm stopped. Stars through breaking clouds, temperature dropping. Perfect plowing weather. Dry snow, easy to move. Dressed, made coffee, grabbed evidence folder from workbench, 347 pages in weatherproof case. Marcy already up, dressed warm. I'm coming. You don't have to. Yes, I do. 14 months? I'm watching how it ends. 4:55. Fired up plow truck. Deep diesel rumble echoing across Silent Valley. Headlights cutting darkness. 5:10. Saw Channel 7 van parked at bottom entrance. Camera crew setting up. Reporter checking microphone. 5:15. Started plowing. First pass. Blade biting into 34 inches. Snow arcing off in white fountains, catching work lights. That grinding roar mixed with whisper of moving snow. Felt like coming home. Behind me, neighbors emerged. Bundled in coats, standing in driveways, watching. Coffee thermoses, witnessing. Rosa on walker, Trevor and Dawn, Amanda filming, Henderson's holding hands, Marcus giving thumbs up. 6:30, cleared first mile. TV crew filming multiple angles. Reporter Sarah Xavier doing stand-ups. Behind me, a Colorado community emerging from crisis as one resident defies an HOA that fined him for the very help they now need. 7 a.m. Final pass near Vivian's house. She stood in driveway, still in robe, hair uncombed, no makeup. White Lexus buried to windows. She looked smaller, diminished. I stopped, stepped out. Crowd had followed, 40 people lining road, camera recording everything. Vivian, I said, voice calm, carrying. She stared. I walked to her mailbox, pulled out certified envelope. Demand letter, itemized bill for 7 years volunteer services, $14,200 in costs I covered, plus today's plowing, $3,800, total $18,000, due in 30 days. HOA doesn't pay, you're personally liable per your signed agreement. Handed her the envelope. Her hand shook. You can't. I can. You authorize me as contractor. Contractors get paid. You wanted professionals? Here's what professionals cost. Sarah Xavier stepped forward, microphone extended. Ms. Ashford Crane, residents claim you've been paying yourself and your nephew tens of thousands while this volunteer was fined. Response? Vivian went white. Those are private matters. Actually, I said, pulling out evidence folder, they're public record. Handed it to Sarah, not Vivian. The reporter. 347 pages. Obtained through Colorado Open Records. Shows President Ashford Crane paid herself $45,000 through shell company Mountain Property Consulting. Shows nephew Derek Crane's company received $96,000 in a year for services that kept this road 95% impassable. Derek's insurance doesn't cover work contracted, excludes grades over 15%. Our road averages 18. Sarah's eyes went wide reading. Cameraman zoomed on documents. Page 178, Cascade contract. Page 241, her payments to herself. Colorado Statute 3833.3209 requires disclosure of financial interests. She never disclosed. Personal liability for every dollar. Crowd noise grew. Angry murmurs. You've been stealing from us? Vivian tried grabbing folder from Sarah. You can't. Confidential. Deputy Martinez stepped forward. He'd been watching from patrol car. "Ma'am, did you disclose your financial interest to HOA membership? That's private business." "That's a no. Contact an attorney." Moment hung. Camera rolling. 40 neighbors watching. Vivian in bathrobe, shaking, cornered. Rosa spoke, voice carrying despite age. "Vivian, you're done." Trevor, filed recall petition. Election April 15th. Resign now. Save embarrassment. Vivian looked around. Crowd, camera, deputy, evidence in Sarah's hands. Perfect Lexus buried. Me standing calm, vindicated. "This isn't over." "Yeah," I said quietly. "It is." She walked inside, slammed door. Crowd erupted. Applause, cheers, whooping. Sarah to camera. Stunning confrontation in Pinewood Summit, where alleged HOA corruption exposed. Documents from resident Dalton Reeves show systematic self-dealing. I walked to truck. Finished last quarter mile. By 8:30, entire 2.3 miles clear. Perfect. Like I'd done 7 years. Because I had. Neighbors brought coffee. Real coffee. Good stuff. Thermoses full. Someone brought muffins. Marcus shook my hand, tears in eyes. "You saved us." "No, I showed everyone who was hurting you." 9 a.m. Cars moving. Buses came through. Mail resumed. Life returned to normal. Except not normal. Better. Everyone knew what Vivian did, what it cost. Sun came up over mountains, bright and clear. Snow sparkled like diamonds. Plow blade gleamed. Justice looks a lot like a freshly cleared mountain road on a Colorado winter morning. The fallout was swift. March 23rd. 3 board members resigned citing loss of confidence in leadership integrity. No quorum. State-appointed interim management took over within 48 hours. March 25th. Colorado Attorney General opened investigation. We'd copied them on everything. 347 pages of evidence. When you hand the state a completed case, they move fast. March 28th. Emergency ballot to all 73 homeowners. Remove Vivian Ashford Crane as president? Results, 89% yes. 65 households in favor. She was done. April 2nd. Forensic audit confirmed 74,300 in improper payments. HOA filed civil suit. Full restitution plus legal fees plus damages. Vivian's attorney offered 50,000 to settle. Interim board refused. We want it all public. They got both. The HOA voted to pay me 18,000 for past services. Check arrived April 8th. I deposited it, then donated 5,000 to volunteer fire department. They'd tried reaching us during storms. Least I could do. April 15th. New elections. Rosa Burke for president. Won unanimously. 73 votes. Trevor treasurer. Amanda secretary. First order. New policies. Mandatory monthly financial reports online. Vendor conflict disclosure requirements. Community vote for contracts over 10,000. Volunteer appreciation fund established. They hired me officially. Fair rate, proper insurance, transparency. $1,200 per storm, $800 monthly retainer, October through April. Same work, now properly compensated. Dues dropped. Without Vivian's stealing and Derek's overcharges, HOA saved $68,000 annually. Monthly dues, $450 down to $375. $75 back per household monthly. May 15th. Thank you, Dalton, potluck. 68 families attended. Food, kids running, laughter where Vivian's cold meetings used to be. Rosa's speech. This man saved our community twice. First by clearing roads 7 years. Second by showing us truth. To Dalton. Everyone raised glasses. Coffee, mostly. It felt good. The HOA established Mountain Emergency Response Fund. $25,000 endowment, managed by Hospital Foundation. Covers helicopter evacuations for underinsured residents. Named for Marcus Flynn. Airlifted twice, $60,000 in bills. Marcus at dedication. No one should choose between health and home. This fund ensures they won't. Annual Snow Safety Day started every October. Free training. Winter preparedness, avalanche awareness, emergency protocols. I coordinate. Because helping is what you do in mountains. Vivian's house, on sale June 2nd. Motivated seller. She moved to Connecticut before trial. Judgment in absentia, $98,000. Restitution, penalties, legal fees. Wages garnished 7 to 12 years. Derek's company, bankruptcy in May. Moved to Arizona, works retail. Cascade dissolved, equipment auctioned. Bigger impact. Colorado legislators noticed. January 2026, passed HOA Transparency Act. Online financial disclosure required, self-dealing limited, whistleblowers protected. News called it Dalton's Law, informally. Bill Ortiz, you didn't just save your community, you changed the system. My business boomed. 3 neighboring HOAs hired me. Brought on 2 employees. One's Marcus's grandson, 24, learning the trade. December 2025, first major snow. 4 a.m., fired up plow, rolled down Ridgecrest Road. Official contractor logo on door now. Fair payment, proper insurance, gratitude. First pass at dawn. Rosa radioed. Coffee's ready when you finish. Be there in 20. Pulled into her driveway, accepted thermos. Stood in morning cold, watching sun paint mountains gold. You know what's funny? Rosa said. What? Vivienne wanted to professionalize everything. Yeah? Turns out, we just needed to professionalize her out. I laughed. Real laugh, echoing. Down the road, smoke from chimneys, kids waiting for buses, cars moving freely. Community living, breathing, functioning. Everything Vivienne controlled, we took back. Everything broken, we fixed. Everything stolen, we recovered. The road, that 2.3-mile stretch that started this, was clear, safe, ready, just like it should be. I drove home. Marcy making breakfast, coffee and bacon smell through warm house. How'd it go? Perfect. Everything's perfect. First time in 14 months. I meant it.
Roman visited his grandfather last week. The 78-year-old still using that oxygen concentrator, still sitting in his favorite chair, reading the morning paper. But now the sound of that machine is no longer a noise violation. It's the sound of life protected by federal law. Karen's apartment refusal to pay the $47,000 judgment from her previous lawsuit ended up bankrupting her. But the interesting part of the story isn't the money. It's how one electrician who understood the easement law in 1987, the one that Karen didn't even knew existed in the deed she was trying to control, changed everything. He didn't need to do anything dramatic. He only needed to understood that knowing the law trumps local authority every time. That 53-feet power generator truck, it was just symbolism. The real power comes from knowledge. Do you know if your HOA has the power to cut your electricity? Do you read the original deed to your house? Or are you just like most of us, assuming those $47 carries absolute authority? Hit the like button if you believe that nobody has the right to cut the electricity to a veteran's oxygen machine. And subscribe if you want more stories of normal people fighting back against petty power. Send this story to somebody who's being bullied by an HOA in their neighborhood. The smallest amount of power is most dangerous when it meets someone who actually knows the law.